It's big dog season, and you can't stay still because you want it. Talk that talk, George. You still scraping your plate because you're hungry. Talk that talk.
This May, for Stroke Awareness Month, we are bringing awareness to the importance of knowing the signs. Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, every 40 seconds someone in the U.S. has a stroke, and every 3 minutes and 14 seconds someone dies of one. While stroke risk increases with age, it can and does happen at any point in someone's life. To talk more about this important issue is Kyle McMurrow, who was just 36 years old when he had a stroke last year, and Dr. Philip Stieg, a member of Kyle's care team and chief of neurosurgery at New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center. Good morning to you both. It's so good to see you both. And Kyle, I wanted to start with you. How did you even know you were having a stroke?
Yeah, I didn't at first. I had just woken up with a really bad neck pain, and I just thought maybe I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Headed to work like a normal day, or at least I thought it was a normal day, and I realized I couldn't walk a straight line. It was very weird. It felt like there was a magnet on my left hip sort of pulling me in that direction. And I got to work and I said, you know, I'm not sick, but something's wrong. I couldn't identify it. So I left to go to my doctor. I called my girlfriend to loop her in, and she was like, no, you need to go to the hospital. You're slurring your speech. And when I got there, the team at New York Presbyterian identified pretty quickly I was having a stroke.
Oh my goodness, I mean, just stunning to hear that. And doctor, we normally associate stroke with someone who might be older, but Kyle, you seem very young and energized, and tell me about that.
Well, Kyle had one type of stroke called a bleeding stroke, which does happen in younger people. The more common stroke that you see is in the elderly, where a blood vessel is blocked.
So you underwent brain surgery and plenty of rehabilitation. Can you take us through the process? I mean, what was all of that like?
Yeah, it was very scary for a long time, just the unknown of it all, because I felt like I had lost a piece of myself. A lot had been stripped away. When Dr. Stieg and his team told me that they were able to go in and perform a surgery, instead of feeling tense about the word surgery, it felt like relief, because it really felt like the first time that I could reclaim my life in having that surgery and getting back to it.
Dr. Stieg, I want to talk to you about the symptoms. I mean, what should people know if they're listening to this and very concerned after hearing your story?
We try to educate people on just the typical symptoms. So it's B FAST, which is the common acronym that we use. And, you know, B is for balance. Like he said, he had a hard time walking. E is for eyes. You know, you have blurry vision or double vision. F is for face. A is for arm, S is for speech, and he had all of those symptoms. And then T is for time, which time is brain.
That's so important to know, and be fast, such a great acronym to keep in mind. Now, according to statistics, 1 in 4 stroke survivors are at risk for another. So are there ways that people can prevent that situation?
There are controllable and uncontrollable things. You can't control the fact that your gender, your ethnicity, or your family history, your genes. The things you can control are your cholesterol. We have a real problem with obesity, so controlling your weight, diabetes. You can do things with exercise. You can control your diet. You can control your sleep, trying to manage stress. All of those things are important, and the happy part of it is have relationships, good dialogue, and 2 glasses of red wine a day.
Hey, that's a good idea for everybody. What about if someone has never had a stroke? I mean, are those the same steps that you should take to make sure you don't have one?
Absolutely. Yeah, and then obviously if you have a family history, you want to be aware of that.
All right. And Kyle, congratulations. 1 year, right, since
Yes.
this happened.
Yes.
And I understand that you celebrated with an unforgettable trip, too.
To Puerto Rico.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
I think everybody needs to celebrate after what you've been through. So really wonderful to talk to you, and thank you. It's just so inspiring to hear
Appreciate
your
it.
story. And Dr. Stieg, thank you so much for all you do for so many people.
Good morning. Today is Sunday, June 9th, the year is 2023. It's going to be a short video because I got a ton of stuff I need to do today. I want to get a video in, and he is pressing bed behind. You over there taking a nap. He was literally laid across the room over there asleep. I was taking a nap. He was just sleeping over there, having a good old time sleeping. As soon as that he heard that countdown, he was coming over here to say hello. Say hello, everybody. Hey, I'm just laying here on a Sunday morning getting some sleep and rest. He done ate all his breakfast food. Excuse me. Ate all his breakfast food, and y'all know I got these new teeth in here. I'm about to do a video about the setbacks I've had. I'm gonna say setbacks. There's been a lot going on. When you go from having no teeth to a mouth full of teeth, it ain't easy. Some days I just have to lay in the house and it's getting better. That's all I can say. I love the teeth. It didn't dawn on me that going from having no teeth to a mouth full of teeth would cause some issues with migraine headaches and tension headaches and shoulder, everything. Just, there's a lot going on. Anyway, the good thing is I did go see my local dentist here, and he looked at the teeth, and I think I'll talk about this. I'm not too sure. He agreed that he liked the dental work that was done in Turkey. He just said it's going to take some time for me to get used to it. And just take it easy and relax. That's all I can do, until it gets back to normal. My head starts feeling back to normal. So, this was an interesting video. I had to rush my mother back to the hospital on Friday morning. So my week has been off whack since Friday. And I got up Friday morning, about to do a YouTube video. And I got a phone call from the leasing agent. And basically, they were saying they had called an ambulance. And my mother had called. Someone called an ambulance. That she wasn't able. She was having chest pains. She couldn't breathe. And there was some other issues that were going on. So they decided to take her to the hospital. So I immediately got up, got dressed, and went on over to the hospital. Well, I sat there all day with her because I went and sat there with her because, of course, she's my mother. And I wanted to get to the bottom. This is her third time going to the hospital. And the hospital isn't the place to diagnose issues or problems. If you're having a persistent issue, you go to your regular doctor, I believe. And then they begin to do tests with your primary care doctor. My mother doesn't have a primary care doctor because my mother never really believed in doctors. She had Jesus. And just keeping it real, y'all. This is her decision, not mine. I have a primary care doctor that I go to all the time. But in an event of emergency, of course, the best way to handle this is to go to the emergency room. So this was her third trip to the emergency room. They ran a bunch of series of tests again. And nothing was conclusive. They didn't say that she had high blood pressure. They gave her blood pressure medicine. I'm not sure. This is where things get kind of a gray area for me because the first two times she went to the hospital, I wasn't there. The first time I was in Turkey when she was at the hospital. The second time, I took her there, but I couldn't stay very long because I was there for hours on end, and they were doing all these tests. If you go to any of these hospitals, it's just they prioritize the people who have the most severe. There's emergency room, so as people come in, you get pushed further down the line because they got people who are far more sicker than you, or a car accident, all kinds of stuff. That one thing I will say is every time the 2 times I've been to this emergency room at Emory Decatur, that place is packed. It's packed, patients everywhere. Ambulances bringing people in, people sitting in beds in the hallway and wheelchairs in the hallways, and this is in the back of the emergency room. Don't forget you got patients sitting out front trying to get in there. And it just went on. I don't think the emergency room is a place for primary care. Let me rephrase this. Of course, my mother needed to go to the emergency room because she wasn't feeling well, so I do get that. But it would be wrong but she doesn't go to her primary care doctor on a regular basis because she doesn't have one. So if she has high blood pressure, and if this is something that's going on continuously, we need to know this by going to the primary care doctor to check her blood pressure on a regular basis so we know, is this normal? Is this unusual for her? This is a one-time event, or does she really have high blood pressure? Because I don't know. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get more in control of my mother's medical situation. But it's going to be very difficult to do because my mother is Miss Independent USA. You can't tell that woman nothing. She's so independent. She's the Miss Independent USA. She's the most independent woman you ever met in your entire life. So when you got somebody like that, you can't tell them nothing, and they're going to do what they want to do. Anyway, so I sat at the hospital with her all day on Friday, from about 10 o'clock to 6, before they ran all these tests. They gave her some medication for blood pressure, medicine to bring her blood pressure down. They gave her a pain medicine. She said she's having a headache. So, y'all, hold on a second. I gotta take care of something. Come here, Grayson. Grayson, they grabbed my shoe and they're trying to tear it apart, so I had to give him something and take my shoe back. Anyway, I was at the hospital with her all day, and they ran a bunch of tests, lab work, the x-rays, CAT scans, a bunch of stuff to see if there's anything going on. And my mother was just up there she laid in bed, sipping on Coca-Cola, watching TV. And so when they look at my mother, they're looking at her, but they got other patients they're dealing with, and they say, okay, she's fine. They run back out the room and just and she's hooked up to a monitor. So they're ripping around all over the place. I'm looking at my mother saying, okay, Mama. Yeah, I do believe that you probably couldn't breathe. But in the midst of all this, my mother needed me to go to her apartment and get a change of clothing for her. Because she ran out of there that morning, she wasn't properly dressed. So I said, okay, I took her keys in her apartment. There's right around the corner from that hospital. I drove over there, parked, went into the building. Everybody, all the people living in it, like, oh, how's your mom? How's Miss Hampton? Is she okay? I said, yeah, she's fine. I'm just here to pick up some clothing. I went upstairs to pick up some clothing, and I saw something. I see, my mother has been pretty much keeping me out of her apartment for months now. And I finally got in there and was able to look around. And it dawned on me, my mother's not going to be able to, this is not working out with her living by herself at all. There's some issues going on with her living alone. And as I was looking around, I said, okay, this is not a good idea. There just was... The first thing that struck me was 100 degrees heat in there, and I'm thinking, like, how's she sitting up in the house? Why isn't the air conditioning not on? I mean, if the apartment was that hot when she was rushed to the hospital, I don't know if it was or not, then maybe she couldn't breathe. It was so warm in there. So when she woke up that morning, there's 100 degree heat in there, and you don't get your air conditioner on, well, I could may not be able to breathe. She claims she doesn't know how to work the thermostat on because I went over there and the air conditioning was it was nighttime. I went in there. She left. When I picked her up from the hospital the second time, no, the next day somehow or other I went in there, but I wasn't there very long. But it was nighttime. I really couldn't see very much, and she had her bedroom doors and her bathroom door closed. So, but this time I was able to go through the whole apartment and look around. I said, okay, this ain't gonna work. It's just not gonna work, y'all. And there were some things I saw that kind of disturbed me, or made me feel uneasy about what is this. So anyway, so I'm gonna have to begin the process of either finding someone that can stay with her at that unit because it's big enough for 2 people, or I'm gonna have to put her out of that apartment because I didn't like what I saw yesterday. Or Friday at all. So, but my mother also, there's another side note, too. My mother had some dental work done maybe a few weeks ago, and they took out her upper teeth. So I think she's having the same type of tension headaches that I'm having because go from having some teeth to, she had a denture that's broke or something. My mother is Miss Independent. You can't tell that woman nothing. When I suggest doctors or dentists, she go do her own thing. And you just get tired of arguing with somebody. You know, she goes, I don't know, you just get, it's exhausting. Always back and forth. Another thing, my mother has a whole, I don't know, which my mother stayed with me very briefly a few years back before she got into this apartment. And one day I went in there, the bedroom, my mother was in there taking some pills. I said, what are all these pills? She had all these vitamins and stuff. Well, and it was just I kind of looked and didn't think much about it. But now, now I'm looking back on it, I'm thinking, what is all this stuff? So when I went through her apartment, I saw all these pills and vitamins on her nightstand, just over-the-counter stuff. I'm thinking, this might be the problem here. What is this stuff? It was all kinds of stuff. And I'm asking her, are you still taking them pills? I can't get an answer. No, I don't take that stuff. They're just sitting there. I'm thinking, okay, I saw you taking this stuff. I never taken this. I've been taking it for years. What's the problem now? I said, well, maybe you don't need to take this. It could be something that you're taking over the counter is causing you to have heart palpitations or mess with your breathing. Let's back away from this stuff for a minute. Let's not take this stuff. I've been taking it for years. What does that matter? You're not listening to me. I said, you're not listening to me. You really don't need this stuff. And when I went in that apartment by myself, but I was so busy trying to get her clothes and get back to the hospital because I wanted to talk to the doctor, I should have just grabbed all the medications up that the over-the-counter medicine brought it with me. I just didn't have the time to grab it because I was trying to get some clothes because I had not yet spoken to her doctor. Oh, did I? I can't remember. Anyway, I grabbed the clothes and went back to the hospital. But I started to round up all the pills I saw on her nightstand, and because she don't need that mess. But you can't tell her nothing. Can't say nothing to her. She's been like that forever, so I don't know what else to say. You know, you try to tell somebody Grayson, shut up. Ooh, it's getting hot in this house too. I need to turn my air on. Well, anyway. I wish I could get my mother to communicate. That video talked about a stroke. My mother didn't have any of those symptoms that with this news report. None of that. I think my mother may be having anxiety attacks or panic attacks. She's so used to being around a lot of people. She's got to be around people. And I think this has started, something's going on that she's not comfortable with. She's unhappy with her circumstances in that building. My mother goes through the building prophesying to people and being a religious Christian. And a lot of those people in the building, they don't want to hear this mess. You know, them people older, I'm talking to people about my mother age and older, and I think some people have already made up their minds about religion and that this is what my mother does. She's always over there praying for somebody, so she's burned a lot of bridges with her religious beliefs. This is a major problem because some people don't want to be bothered with that mess. And my mother makes up, she said, she makes up stuff that's outrageous. When I was talking to her, she said a neighbor gave her a turkey. And she was going to eat it because she said, they ain't going to get my head. She was saying this crazy stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, what about this damn turkey? And I was like, she just went on and on about a neighbor gave her a turkey and she had to throw the turkey in the trash and she wasn't going to eat it because this woman was dealing in something. And I'm thinking, okay, my mother has been saying crazy stuff like that since forever. So I just ignored it. But you can't ignore something when, hey, Grayson, why are you? You can't ignore this type of stuff because it's somebody's constantly out to get her. She don't like this person. She don't like that person. She don't like this and this and that. This is ridiculous. And so anyway, the video was a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But it's kind of threw my whole weekend out of whack. Taking her to the hospital, making sure she's sitting there with her, talking with her. I just think she's lonely. And it's the summertime, so just all my nieces and nephews, they're all working jobs now. They can't come hang out with mama like they can do every summer. My my nieces and nephews are grown, but their children will come over and hang out with mom most of the summer. So they stay at her place. But now these kids are old enough for their working jobs, and they're not available to come over there and spend time with her. And I think that is part of the problem. My mother is lonely. I was trying to explain this to the emergency room doctor when I finally did speak with her. And I said, well, can we get her something to help with anxiety? And she's like, well, she didn't want to give her anything. She gave her blood pressure medicine. But she did give me a referral for a geriatric care therapist. I think I'm going to really try my damnedest to get my mother to go to that, because there's something going on. I don't think it's a health issue. I just think my mother's lonely, and she's having some problems with, this summer, and the school is out, and the kids are not. Her nieces, her great grandchildren are not over there and hanging out with her, and she'd take them to the pool, and then she stayed real busy with those kids. And that ain't the case this summer because they all got jobs now. So, and they're not little kids anymore. I mean, anyway, this has been on my mind all weekend, so I had to resolve this work on it. There's June 9th. What a way to start June. But anyway, it's time for me to go and get this day started because I got some stuff I need to do. Anyway, today is June 9th, Sunday, June 9th, the year is 2024. I'll speak to y'all later, and I'll try to do another video. There's a couple of topics I wanted to discuss, but I'll get to that later on this evening. Today is going to be kind of a slow day over here. I got some stuff I need to do, but then it's already 12:20. All right, I'm out. Enjoy this beautiful Sunday. Sunday, June 9th, 2024. I'm out.